Hey, what's up guys? This is Oakley and we're going to be doing another Napoleon Total War battle. I'm in the middle as the Russians. On my left is going to be a Prussian wing. Great Britain is going to be taking the other flank. So right over here I'm going to be charging forward. I chose Russia. Typically they do have some of the best artillery, or at least the experimental units like the Unicorn, very long range, although most people prohibit you from using those. I like choosing Russia because they have a pretty good mix of cavalry, lots of these light noble troops, which is great for seizing the advantage in terms of positioning your troops, for instance, in a city like this, which is going to be very important for this huge battle. In case I'm going to be facing off against the French here, French combined force over there, and then Great Britain is going to be on the opposing team as well. So initially they're charging out here, and I was able to get the drop on these guys. Frantically, I'm guessing he's pressing the command to deploy stakes. It's not going to be in time. I'm going to blast in here, and his support troops are not there, not ready to go ahead and help these guys out. So they're just starting to put out their stakes. So down there, I have to stop my charge. Although here I do get a good hit, kill about 20 of his guys, and yeah, like 13 more right there. So then I pull out and retreat. The reinforcing troops don't even have enough time to get off shots, and the rest of these guys are hiding behind the woods. Some of these guys are going to take some hits. I'm going to pull them back. The remainder of my forces are now pulling up into the city. You can see where I'm deploying them, so they're going to start, oops, yeah, it looks like over here I was about to be charged by these reinforcements from Great Britain. So a nice tactical move from him to see that the army in the center was in need. So he chases me into this line of fire. I get shot there, so I'm reforming my cavalry to come and help. These guys are gonna try and attack from the side. I chase these guys off, and like I was trying to say before those guys charged me, but I had moved these guys in supporting position, was able to ward those off. But anyways, this means that some of my Uhlans here who were charging these guys off, cavalry do have a bit finicky commands of this game. I am telling them constantly to retreat, but they seem to have been caught on some of the terrain, so lost one unit because of that, which kind of sucks. Anyways, he has moved up more of his forces here. Some of them are going to go ahead and go into the building. I'm going to try and pick off the rest before they can go ahead and get in there too effectively. So that's going to help even the odds. But there are more troops here. I think it was worth it. I don't want them having this secure position right here. These buildings are typically very, very hard to take over, especially when you get elite troops in there. So I was trying to knock out these guys. Thankfully, they are relatively cheap units who are going to be positioning themselves in there. So now I'm going to be forming up on various hills. I do have horse units here. They're going to be taking some fire. However, for the most part, they are in cover. I'm surprised even one of my guys got killed. I'm going to be pulling them a little further down the hill to take them out of harm's way. And yeah, mostly moving up all my troops and reinforcements. You'll be seeing me deploy sort of piecemeal, sending troops in here to go take that out, and then I'm going to sending guys on the side to guard flanks and keep reinforcements from pushing that position. These guys I'm pushing over here with the intention of maybe forcing a wedge through here. Let's go ahead and see the position taken by both armies. Looks like the British have found themselves, or the Great Britain has taken itself to securing this flank, and we're going to have kind of a face-off with dense woods in between. That's going to be very hard for either force to move forward. Anyways, yep, I seize the opportunity when I have it, so those guys decide to charge out against these guys. Yes, I do lose the front couple of cavalrymen, but it's going to be enough to knock out these French voltigeurs. And the fire from the units back here is going to do some damage, but it's not going to be enough. I did know that these guys would charge back in. That's why I had deployed these musketeers here in reserve. I'm going to tell my cavalry to retreat. I don't like many of the things coming from Rome 2 and even Shogun 2. When you tell your units to move or you drag them, they go at a walk. So it's very hard to get these troops to move. You can see here they're freezing up. They're having lots of issues. So I did end up losing more units than I wanted to. Not necessarily because of micro, but just due to the fact of how the units handle this game. And it was a little frustrating to say the least. But yeah, in these areas here where there is open line of sight, that's where I'm going to place my own troops who can get better shots off, and then the musketeers and various other line infantry are going to be the ones holding the choke points, whereas when I have great line of sight, I'm going to use my more open and larger range guys. His infantry here are trying to push forward. My guys did shoot some of the dirt, although we're going to get some kills. I'm just chasing him off with my cavalry. Looks like he's forming up in a square, so I'm going to go ahead and pull off. But my own troops here, you can see I'm always positioning myself to have shots on his men no matter where he goes. And if your enemy forms up in a square, take the opportunity to retreat with your cav. You don't want to take too many losses. These guys were able to retreat relatively safely back into the trees here. And now part of the engagement is going to be taking place over here. Let's go ahead and take a look at this battlefield. This is where we haven't really looked too much. So a combined French fort over here. or French force, not fort. And the army of Great Britain is stationed here. They're going to start moving forward with, I believe, okay, so these are rifles, and I think he has a complement of foot guards. A lot of specialty units actually in here. So this is going to be a very, very highly trained force. Wow, that's going to be very good. But they're facing against Polish, Swiss, and Swiss. So it's going to be a very close-fought battle there. In the center, he is moving up reinforcements. Cavalry were feigning a charge. They pulled back. So I had these guys. They're protecting these Russian Jaegers who are getting off decent amounts of shots at his men. However, it's surprising just how long it takes to finish these guys off. You'll see they're stationed here for a long time, and even my musketeers who are up close are gonna not get off many shots, just mostly because the first line, in and of itself doesn't have enough space to get that many volleys, and they take a long time to reload. They don't have much of the firing training, fire by platoon or by rank that many of the other forces do have. Prussia is going to be pushing forward here with the foot guards. These are going to be relatively evenly matched against this foot here. However, there are more of these guys putting on the pressure. I'm going to be moving my cavalry to help push this front. You can see the French are redeploying on that side. Over here, this unit lasts a ridiculous amount of time. You'll see they're here for so long, and I don't get how that works because my troops are lined up here. These guys should be giving support fire, and I'm going to move these guys basically point blank. So you'll see how long these guys end up staying there. I should have probably grabbed one of my cavalry units and charged up front, but I figured they would crumble with minimal losses to my own side. At least they are firing at this building, so they're not going to be doing much damage, and I'm going to be taking the advantage in that sense. The foot guards here are a little susceptible from a cavalry charge from these dragoons, which is why I'm pushing up these guys. They're going to be reserves, hopefully to ward off a cavalry attack. French are redeploying here. I'm going to pull back, always using the buildings to screen my advance and provide for the best angles of fire. Here I'm continuing to put on the pressure, and yep, these guys are still here. Only a couple of these men dying in the last, minute or so. I'm very surprised considering these guys are point blank, although I was a little frightened to charge given the fact that there's these huge French numbers over there. So I'm going to be pushing these guys up, hopefully get some more shots on. I did actually charge my cavalry through here. A couple of them got caught on the pikes, but for the most part it helped me crash through this line and take these guys out. Then I'm going to go ahead and I believe tell these guys to charge in through here before the French cavalry comes and tries to push me back. France is going to move aggressively in here with Young Guard. So I think 4 Young Guard units. That's going to be too much for us to handle. So we're going to pull back to sort of a formation right here. I do move in with my own Life Guard. Seeing as he has too many of these guys and potential cavalry support, I think we're going to go and further bow our line. These guys I feel are comfortably here. They're well within range of their effectiveness while not taking too much fire from these guys here. Cavalry is charging in against my guys, form up into squares, so 2 squares against each other. Kind of funny shooting each other. These horses are not going to be doing much damage. And here, sneaky French attack from this side is going to catch me completely by surprise. I wasn't checking that side of the battlefield, so they get in on some of my troops here. These guys are facing the wrong way, and they're going to just keep plowing through my forces. Kind of pandemonium, you'll see. I was trying to get these forces to form up in square. I was going to pull my guys back into this square. But these cavalry were almost unstoppable. They just kept charging forward, so I guess these 5th Regiment of Hussars are very good. And I guess with my own troops pushing through here, it caused the Life Guard. This should be heavy infantry elite troops. They just, look at this. It basically erased this side of my infantry, so I don't know what's going on here. Hopefully these guys should be liquidated relatively soon. But yeah, like I was telling you, we're going to pull back because the French troops are too high in number. These are some of the best Russian infantry, very good accuracy, firing rate, morale, all of that. But they're going to be pulling back because they don't want to, you can see how they're getting shots off at me. I don't want them taking too much fire. So at any point in time, as I emphasized in the last video, you want to make sure that you're getting the most bang for your buck. So if you're taking fire from multiple units, don't be afraid to retreat in between volleys and then replace them with these guys who can fight at a distance. So over here, I was able to clean those guys up. Not too many losses to my men, but it did cause a lot of panic and problems that I wouldn't otherwise have wanted. In any case, this is going to be the unit I was telling you about. They just simply won't die. I don't know what's going on with my 4 units here, so I do pull some of them out. I'm going to try and disperse these forces, help just neutralize that. It'll hopefully open up a front or the opportunity for me to push up through here. The Prussians on this side are laying down a pretty impressive field of fire right here across this open plain. They did short work of these British troops up here. putting on shots against these guys. Terrain is not necessarily in their favor because there's forest and houses and whatnot over here. So we're going to be trying to draw in the French into this killing field over here. Over on this side, France has a lot of these chasseurs and various light troops just picking off the troops of Great Britain, but now that these foot guards and Coldstream guards and the King's German Legion, these are all very elite infantry, they're going to put off high volumes of fire, and that's going to be enough to neutralize this threat, especially with the general, popping his abilities. Although a good amount of the elite troops did get picked off, so this could go either way, especially with French reserves up here. The engagement over here, these guys finally decide to pull back because I had threatened a cavalry charge. Right here is where France moves up with his young guard. I would recommend putting them in a thicker formation than this, wider formation. Yes, they have more staying power, but they're not going to get many shots off. So here you go, he's going to be widening his line. However, I do have my own troops in the forest. That's going to give them some additional cover. And then I have these two troops here, Russian Jaegers in line formation, and then Russian Jaegers in skirmisher formation. So that's going to allow them basically two skirmisher units, one firing over the other, both ranks firing here, all ranks firing here. That's going to be a lot of volleys coming from the Russian side. So I do like these cinematic views right here. I haven't quite figured out how to suppress the radar and the other elements of this, but I'll be looking for that key anyways, so hopefully this is cinematic enough for you guys. Constantly moving my forces around. This guy has been whittled down to almost nothing, but he keeps bouncing forth between here and looking back this way, and he's going to be almost reduced to nothing. The cavalry are going to be charging in. Pretty good move, backed up by some Polish legions here. However, I do have my own guys here ready to fire right into this cavalry charge, so hopefully these guys, letting off devastating crossfire, moving in some more lifeguard here to patch the gap. Cavalry are able to do, wow, yeah, they just cut through my Jaegers, so heavy cavalry right there, especially from the French, is doing a lot of damage. These guys are holding up a little bit better, but it's kind of a poor trade. Yes, look at this, he did kill most of my guys, but these are basically militia troops, not very strong, and I was able to kill a decent amount of his cavalry. Over here, the combined fire of these skirmishers, if you can ever pull this off, stacking skirmishers like this against line infantry, I guarantee you'll get a ton of kills. Yeah, look at this. They have great accuracy, great rate of fire. So overall, very, very beneficial. Right here, yeah, reduced cavalry to half strength. Over on this side, we're going to try pushing forwards. Looks like the skirmishers have been finished off, and now the British army here is going to try pushing forward, but as they do, they're going to meet the Swiss foot and the various guys just positioned at the crest of the hill. So these guys are fresh, the French troops are fresh, combined with the general and support and stuff like that. They're going to be kind of evenly matched against these British troops. So we'll have to see where that ends up. With the addition of cavalry forces on this side who could potentially at any moment charge down here, that's what's causing the standstill on this side of the battle. Let's go back and check over here. I did pull my cavalry through here. This is going to be the breakthrough I wanted. Forces this guys into square, gives me cover to move forward with these guys here, put on fire onto his old guard who are otherwise very hard to kill. At the same time, break this guy here, and I'm going to charge through here, attack the general. At the same time, it does allow the British forces to move through here. So foot guards, Coldstream guards, they're further down the line. But anyways, here the old guards could easily take my forces on a one-on-one fight if they're in a line. That's why I had to charge here, force them into square. Obviously, square is not as good against infantry. And then I have two guys who typically have poor accuracy and all that. I put them just point blank to try and do as much damage as possible with the support of my lines on the higher terrain to do more damage. You can see some movement over here. It's going to be the cavalry charging into my guys. I do catch this time, go into square. The dragoons from Great Britain did charge through here. However, I did form in a square, but at the same time the French moved their forces together, so good combination 1-2 punch right there. Even though the cavalry are not effective, it's going to allow these guys to put fire on my troops. However, my skirmishers that I had out in the open, they were pulled back basically behind this square, so they're going to be doing great deals of damage, and the support of the Prussian cavalry is going to be good enough. Yep, so over here I am having basically, yeah, that's it for my forces. They've all been deployed on either flank, trying to push the French and hold this I guess you call it a beachhead. The French cavalry that were on the other side swarm all the way around here, taking a torturous pass, but they're going to be crashing right into my forces here. The British troops did not get off enough shots to kill me. I'm going to be charging, continuing to charge through. It looks like France decided to charge forward. I guess that was a decent move. The Swiss foot are equally matched against these guys, I think. Relatively even numbers all along the line. However, on this side, with the cavalry charging away to help break up this flank, it did allow British troops to move up this side. And now this is going to be the envelopment and the cascading effect of turning the line that's going to, basically, see these guys here? These guys, 18th Regiment, nicknamed the Brave. These guys are very, very good, but with fire from their back and, pretty hard troops attacking them with bayonets, it's going to be relatively devastating. So that's going to allow this whole flank to be mopped up. Over here, it's a relatively even exchange. I'm repositioning my guys in the forest, so they should be taking relatively little amounts of fire. These guys are repositioned, my lifeguard's still alive, and then these Jaegers who are doing, I wish I could see their stats right here, but they're doing a lot of damage to these guys. Lifeguard here, and these guys fire by platoon, so I think portions will fire, then these guys, then these guys. Oh no, looks like they're all kind of firing at once, but they have very impressive rates of fire. So that's going to crumble, break those guys there. Increasing pressure here is going to collapse this front. Cavalry were deployed here to help that out. And my troops here, the Chevalier Guard, so those are the best, almost the best, I believe, Russian cavalry. They were able to push through here that you guys saw earlier. I took out his general, and now I'm going to be moving for the British general over on this flank here. And this flank has remained immobile, mostly because of the terrain. It's not very advantageous for either force to give up control of the hill. But it has allowed Prussia to move forward here, put on the pressure, and now they're collapsing this entire flank, and it looks like we're going to be breaking through here. It's only a matter of time before this flank is finished off and we can sweep down the hill and clean up the remaining forces. I do bring in my own general here to help mop up this fight. I was hoping he could take out these guys, so yeah, was able to take out a couple of the cavalry troops who were tired at this point, but I believe a stray bullet from the old guard, or perhaps one of these guys, yep, right there, killed my general, so he died. Rather unfortunate considering he just got to the battle here, and he was able to rout these guys. The old guard are far away, so I was surprised to have lost my general. But in any case, before I did charge, I did make sure to pop his abilities, rally these guys up. But yeah, you can see just how long these old guard are surviving in the face of, what was it, 4 infantry regiments here? Yeah, they're very, very strong troops, so attack with caution. Right here we have cracked the French forces here. Basically, all the smoke is drifting away, and what you're left with is a pile of bodies here. My own lifeguard were reduced significantly, but they're still holding together, and they're going to be pushing this advantage here. I am scared of these cavalry. These guys could at any moment come in through here, and here we go. Second general kill for me. So these guys were able to charge in here, basically come out of the forest and just assassinate this general. Then I'm going to be charging forward into these groups of units here and allow Prussia to continue moving forward. So these guys are definitely paying for themselves. They've done a lot of damage, especially with neutering the command of both forces. The forces of Great Britain are going to be reforming, trying to face off my cavalry. I'm going to pull them back, charge through here. And then this side is finally facing the brunt of this attack, so we'll see if they can hold up. Over here, you may have spotted a charge of the French infantry, so they're pushing forward here with their legions, and he's using his general very aggressively, charging into my own lifeguard foot. Did pretty good damage, follows that up with the charge from the Polish legion, so that may be enough to finish my guys off. I'm going to go ahead and throw my general unit in here, so yeah, pretty incredible to see the generals turning the tide of battle relatively significantly. Now these forces are going to move forward, just like I said. I was rather scared of them, but I did form up in square. Supporting forces here are going to be enough to take them out. And these guys are going to do an about face once again, switching position, and all they've been seeing this entire game is forces charging here, shoot them, forces charging here, turn around, shoot them, and you can see the amount of bloodshed that these guys were able to I guess, impose on the enemy. This is going to be combined Swiss foot and, nope, just Swiss foot, facing off against this entire army here. And the old guard are still alive. These guys are incredibly tough. Now they're going to be engaging with the Highland foot in hand-to-hand combat. So this flank was finished off. When the French moved their cavalry out, this allowed the British to move through here, turn the flank, and what would have been an even fight was then wrapped up, and they drove down here. At this point, I had kind of neutralized the French in the center, kept them from pushing forward here, and I helped push the charge back on this flank. Now this British army is going to be pushing forward and basically steamrolling through here. My own cavalry are still alive. They're able to kill some of the infantry here, and now they're coming down, And look at this, I'm trying to charge them through here. I wanted to go for these forces, the Swiss foot, but take a look at this. I saw this at the last moment, so charging forward, and I think yep, basically kissing these before the cavalry decide, nope, that's a bad idea. But then I'm going to charge through with my infantry, and they don't take any damage anyways. So these guys are going to get almost point blank to his units here. The Swiss foot are going to realize that. They're going to go and face around. But take a look at this. If you want to put yourself in the position of these guys, both sides are shooting outwards. That is not where you want to be. Look at this. I did tell these are my best infantry. I tell them to charge the opponents. They're doing some weird thing where they're charging against my guys, and I don't know what's going on. But yeah, that's not much help for my best infantry. I was hoping to get them in on the charge, but then they just go ahead and break. It's kind of tragic. My cavalry here, I was hoping to charge them in to the flank here, but they're going to go ahead and break. They're exhausted after having done so much. Let's take a look at some of these varied units from the British line, especially since they are lots of elite units. So Highland Foot, pretty cool skins on them, as well as the 80th Connaught Rangers. I'm not sure of the history of these British forces, but there was a lot of DLC for Napoleon that you could get to get specific elite units from various factions, and they all come with, of course, their history. I'm just not necessarily familiar with them besides the French units. Over here, Russian Jaegers are still alive. These guys are incredible. They were fighting initially here, covering my forces here, moved over here, turned this fight, killed these guys, and now they're finally dealing death to the remainder of the French forces, and now these guys are going to get all-out charge from the remainder of the British forces. On the hill, my cavalry who kept and swept in here killed the general and cracked these forces, allowed for the Prussian forces to advance, and now you can see the aftermath of that. The Prussians were basically, defeated piecemeal. Over here, when they were forced to withdraw some of their forces to reinforce the hill, they lost this, and overall, we've just been able to collapse the enemy forces on all fronts. Incredibly epic battle, very, very long-winded. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward it here so we can go ahead and see the results. You guys basically have seen the entirety of the battle. Right now, it's just going to be us sort of chasing down the remainder of the British foot here, but that's it. They're going to crumble. So now you can see some of the statistics. So I'm here right here. I took the man for man, just as many as this French guy here. But I got the most kills, almost the most kills in the entire game. So doing pretty well. I want to see the stats on some of these guys. So Chevalier, these are the assassin guys, so they got a decent amount of kills. Cossacks were pretty cheap. They did get the initial kills off on those Jaegers, but mostly they died. So I guess looking at the stats, they weren't that effective, but from a strategic perspective, they kept my forces in control of the city early on. Looking down here, my Lifeguard definitely paying for themselves, getting a shit ton of kills. And the Jaeger units, this is probably the guys who lasted till the end, 152 kills and 145 on these guys. So definitely a very bloody battle. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time.